welcome back to my channel. This is Anastasia here with this week's Teen Mom Recap. Before I get started, I would love it if you guys would go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I post new videos every single week, usually on Thursday or Friday, sometimes Wednesday, about the newest Teen Mom 2 episode, as well as whatever season is airing at the time on MTV. With that being said, let's go ahead and get started. This episode starts with Chelsea. She goes to check on her progress on her haunted house, and then Cole brings Aubrey to her first day of in-person school. By the way, Aubrey both looks and sounds so much older here, it's wild. She really does both look and sound exactly like a younger Chelsea. Cole's being real corny as usual, like, let's take pictures, Aubrey. Let me get a hug, Aubrey. I know you want to give me a hug. I know you want to take pictures. Aubrey is not having it. She's realized that she's far too old for this shit, and she starts yelling, Mom made you do this. I know she did. And she literally starts physically pushing Cole away from her when he tries to hug her. Honestly, same. Kale's wearing her always right shirt, and there's a random dude in her passenger seat, and she's taking her kids to school. After that, she goes to have a backyard chat with, guess who? Bone! Kale's annoying-ass redhead friend who is for some reason showing up for the first time in like 2 years. Lux, by the way, is laying like this on his swing, and they're like, oh my god, he's so dramatic. 2020, guys, this is what 2020 is. Kale is happy that she gets along with Joe and V now, so much so that she's actually starting a podcast with V called Baby Mama's No Drama. Bone says, oh my god, Joe's so unproblematic. I love him. What the hell? Why does Bone talk like a 14-year-old on Twitter replying to Ariana Grande? Oh my god, so unproblematic. Briana is sick of having no free time, and she wants Devon to help pick up and drop off Nova. Once again, she wants to have a face-to-face conversation with him, despite the fact that it goes south literally every single time they do that. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Roxanne doesn't want Nova at Devon's house because he has roommates. Like, damn bro, you really cannot win with these witches. Your Maddie doesn't have his own house. Your Maddie doesn't have his own car. And then when he gets a house, you don't like that either. Like, do they not realize how expensive it is for someone with his income to be living in Orlando alone with no roommates? Oh wait, they don't because they've been living off Briana for the past 3 years. Briana isn't hearing it from Roxanne. She says, I'll do what I want to do, Mom, and you need to support me. I don't want to hear your blabbering. And they bicker a little bit. As I say over and over and over again, I'm just going to say it again. When Mommy lives with you at the age of 26, don't expect to not have to hear her opinion on everything on the daily. She's your mom. That's what she does. The only thing that's going to stop her from doing that mom thing is moving out. Leah calls Jeremy and tells him she wants to get trained to carry naloxone. Jeremy's like, what? Probably thinks that's some kind of weird type of gun or something, because that's the only thing most people carry over there in West Virginia. But no, naloxone is basically Narcan, which is an emergency drug used to treat overdose. She says, now that my past addiction is for sure public knowledge, girl, we knew for a long time, I have an obligation to help raise awareness and help however I can. Our kids might have that same struggle down the road, Jeremy. Sure, sounds good. I've never been able to talk to Corey about this though. It's vital to my healing. I think he knows somewhat. Okay, he does, like, definitely more than somewhat, but I want to be able to talk to him more about it. Next is Jade and Sean. Jade and Sean set a new Teen Mom record here. They start fighting before the filming even technically begins. Or at least not all the filming because they did catch us on tape. Sean, can you step out while I film? Why? I'm not being loud. You just want to talk about me. No, I just can't focus with you standing there. So he runs into the bathroom, slams the door, and says, there, you happy now, Jade? No, I'm not. So Jade moves outside, and the editing here is interesting. They kind of go back and forth between Sean and Jade's confessionals. So it goes like this. We still have communication problems. We're barely speaking. I want him to be driven. I can't make him do that, though. I do everything by myself. He needs to go to school or get a job. I don't have a side of things. My opinion doesn't matter. There's more that he has to do than just not doing drugs. That's just one step. I have feelings, but I'm not used to talking about them. We have two completely different mindsets. I can't express myself without getting angry. It just doesn't end well. And then Sean cuts it off. I do feel a little bad for Sean here. Just a little. It seems like no one ever taught him when he was growing up how to express his emotions. And he probably has some anger issues that he needs to sort through that he never got help for in the past. But hey, maybe get a job with some insurance benefits and go see a therapist, dude. You're too old to not take responsibility for your shortcomings. Next is Chelsea. She's like, oh my god, there's so much going on in my life right now. And somehow, all of it is boring. She goes to Lori Bell's warehouse, and Lori explains how everything is coming in all at once, all the clothes and everything, after shutting down for a while due to COVID. Now everything's happening. Chelsea's insight is, she says, my rack will be growing. Well, the boob job already did that. Briana, in her next scene, starts with, I have a corporate job, and I'm the owner of a beauty bar. I'm too busy, and Devon needs to help. 3 jobs and you still have no money. Something's not right here. She meets Devon, and they yell across the parking lot from the car windows about how he needs to pick up Nova more often. He agrees to pick her up for the next few days. Kail is having trouble with e-learning. Half her boys' assignments haven't been done, and Joe says he didn't even know about it. You can tell Kail totally thinks that it's Joe's fault, but she doesn't want to start a fight. Like, not this time. She has a podcast with his wife, literally called Baby Mama's No Drama. Gotta make the ad money on that. She says there's too many sites on these education things. There's links and all this, and you think you're dumb, but there's another website that you didn't even know about. I'm gonna lose my shit. Jade texts her producer that she broke up with Sean. Hallelujah, thank God. Later she explained she sat down and said, I want to have a civilized conversation with you, Sean. I'm forcing myself in this relationship. You don't contribute whatsoever. There's no point in you being here anymore. Jade knows that he doesn't have money to go off and live by himself, but she doesn't want to be unhappy anymore, and she really wants him to leave. Our co-parenting is not going to change, though. I, for one, am very happy to hear this, obviously, but unfortunately I don't think it lasted very long. I think as of the present day, they actually got back together, for what that's worth. Next is Leah. Addie tells Leah's producer, Brandon, hey, I got gum on your microphone. I kind of ruined it. LOL. Brandon politely asks Addie, well, can you maybe take it off for me? No. Why can't you? Besides, coronavirus, that's kind of just gross. But Addie's only 7 years old, it's something that her mom should be explaining to her. But Leah is dead silent pretty much this entire scene until the end, when she overhears Brandon politely asking Addie over and over again, and Addie continuing to refuse. And finally Leah's like, oh, Addie, yeah, you should probably, take it off or something. Not really paying attention too much to what's going on. After that, Leah's going on about the opioid crisis, which is a good cause to be involved in, but maybe also think about the coronavirus crisis and why he doesn't want to touch your kid's gum. And your kid's spitting gum on equipment that is probably expensive. She comes back from the naloxone training later and sits in the back with Victoria. She says many of her friends have family who died from overdose. She doesn't want her kids to look down on drug addicts, and she wants to teach them that. She says, I always had to hide my issues from Corey because of the court, but that was so unhealthy. No one gets it unless you've been through it. I feel really bad for Leah here, actually. She's getting super worked up and emotional, and even bursts into tears, and meanwhile, Victoria's just kind of sitting there looking kind of high herself. Barely listening, it seems like, doesn't really comfort her. I'm sure after holding it in for 5 years, she didn't talk about the drug issue. It's probably a lot to finally bring that out there once and for all, as much as I make fun of her. Chelsea meets her twin, Laura, at a bench in the park. They're wearing, no joke, identical ripped jean jackets and black beanies. And Chelsea has a tie-dye sweatshirt going on. And then Chelsea literally says, I don't know exactly what I want to do with these clothes, but I just want it to be cool shit, bro. I mean, I would look at these two from a distance in the local park and literally just think it's the two park crackheads having a philosophical discussion with each other. Anyway, Laura recovered from coronavirus recently, and there have been some cases in their school district, so Chelsea's a bit worried for her kids. Kail and V start up their podcast and have Joe on as a guest. Joe just talks about how he's glad that V and Kail are finally friends, and he thinks they're actually very similar to each other. They realize that they should stop fighting because they wanted their kids to be close to each other, and that was the start of their friendship. Briana picks Nova up from Devon's and asks her if she likes spending time at her dad's. She says, well, I don't know. His friend always comes in and blasts loud music, and I don't like it. If they didn't do that, would you want to go? Maybe, but in our house there's only girls and no boys. Do boys make you uncomfortable, Nova? Then you don't have to stay. Devon was right when he said there really is not a single male role model in Briana's family. Entire family. Think back, have you ever seen a grandpa or uncle or even a male cousin on their side? Almost never, if not some random second cousin that barely shows up at the parties. So no wonder Nova doesn't feel comfortable around boys. It's kind of sad. Leah meets Corey at the local parking lot and discusses her addiction. Corey thinks that she progressed a lot, while Leah is still a little bitter about the way they communicated back then with her. She says, you guys could have gone about it different, confronting me and whatnot. And your wife, too. Is Miranda Voldemort? Can they not say her name? We were supportive, Leah, but it turned to anger over time. And then Leah just says the word communication a dozen times in a row. While Corey is very clearly getting uncomfortable with the direction of this conversation. And he's just yeah, okay. Sure, Leah. Yeah, okay. Next is Jade. Sean doesn't have anywhere to go after the breakup, so he just stays at Jade's place anyway. Jade goes out with her friend and says that her and Sean fought last night, big shocker, and that the energy is weird at the house. Her friend says Sean yelled at her yesterday when she came over, which freaked her out. That's your messy relationship, girl. Please do not involve me in it. And Jade's yeah, he's getting more and more controlling with me. He even tells Chloe, Daddy has to go. Mommy's making me leave, which is so low. I even think that's kind of beneath Sean. Don't use your kid as a pawn so you don't get kicked out. And don't mess with your child's emotion just to get back at Jade. Not cool. But that's not all. Just like an infomercial, Sean just keeps on giving. Sean was also telling Jade, your mom and your grandma both told me you're a bad mom, by the way. So Jade called them and was hey guys, Sean's telling me that you said I was a bad mom, is that true? And they said no, so she got Sean on the phone and he said, I never said they called you a bad mom. What are you talking about, Jade? Stop making stuff up. This dude is like insufferable. Yet still, Jade says once he moves out, I still want to be nice with him. Don't know why. If he gets disrespectful though, I'm gonna cut his co-parenting off. Next is Briana. Briana tells Roxanne and Brittany what happened with Nova and what she said about his roommate. Noah says, yeah, sometimes my dad's roommate comes in the room and says hi. And Roxanne freaks out. She's like, he gets what? He says hi. Oh. Roxanne's dumbass is over here like getting ready to square up with Devon like, oh, you're getting high in front of my daughter? No, he said hi. Okay then. Stupid. In the middle of the conversation, Stella randomly interrupts to say, I don't like my dad. I don't like him. I like Devon. Damn. I would say that is so embarrassing to Lewis, and it should make any guy want to step up after hearing that being said about you on national TV. But I'm not convinced that Lewis even has emotions. Later on in her confessional, Briana says, I understand why Stella feels that way. I picked these men to be their fathers, so it really is my fault. I didn't really grow up with a dad. That's why I pushed so hard for them to be around. I see a little Briana in my kids. It's hard to pretend that I'm strong about this. And that's all for this episode of Teen Mom 2. Do you think that Jade should kick out Sean already despite the fact he has nowhere to go? And do you think that Nova should have to go to Devon's if she feels uncomfortable? Make sure to leave a comment down below and make sure to subscribe for more Teen Mom recaps every week.